Welcome back to Two Brothers Comics. I'm Nick, and today we're going to talk everything Star Wars The High Republic. Everything you need to know before you start reading, and all of my opinions about the new saga. Hit the like button while the intro plays, and stay tuned. Alright, so today we saw the new trailer for the Star Wars The High Republic. Now, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on in the video and give you my thoughts and opinions on that. But for right now, I want to dive into a little bit about the back history of the Star Wars The High Republic, where it came from, where it's going to be going, and the different formats that the story is going to be told in. Now, Star Wars The High Republic, this is going to be a three-phase project for Star Wars over the next several years. The first phase being the Light of the Jedi, the second phase being the Quest of the Jedi, and phase 3 being the Trials of the Jedi. Now, these are going to be told in novels, in comic books, in magazines. A while back, we heard about Project Luminous, and this is what that was. It was actually supposed to come out this summer. However, COVID delayed everything, and now we're just now starting to get to see everything. Now, this is going to be starting with Charles Soule's new book, The Light of the Jedi. That's going to be released tomorrow, January 5th. As well as a couple of other novels. Justin Ireland's A Test of Courage, and then Cavan Scott's The Great Jedi Rescue. Then we're also going to be getting a couple of comic books that are going to come out on January 6th, which I'm really excited for, I think, but we'll see how it turns out. Marvel Star Wars The High Republic by Cavan Scott, in Ario and Indito, and then IDW is doing their Star Wars adventure, but it's going to be Star Wars The High Republic Adventures, which obviously is more of the young adult version of that, and that's going to be coming out on January 6th. Again, we're also going to be getting another novel from Cavan Scott, and that's going to be coming out in July 21. So all that to say, it's going to be in several different formats. It's going to be a long-term deal. This High Republic is not going away for quite some time, several years. Phase 1, in fact, is supposed to last all the way through sometime in 2022. However, that was not made clear when exactly that was going to end. Now, in an interview, director Michael Siglane, he is the Lucasfilm publishing director, as quoting him, he said, "This is going to be a steady stream of books, comics, magazines coming your way on a monthly basis." So again, to reiterate, they're really hitting hard with that written format. You know, we are getting a ton of stuff on Disney Plus. You know, we haven't heard much in the way of movies besides Star Wars The Rogue Squadron. So that'll be interesting, and I'm very interested now how that's going to turn out with Wonder Woman 84 not being the best of movies, and that we'll put it that way. Now, they're saying they're playing the long game, and that's another quote. And what drove the concept for this new storyline, right? This new saga event. It's dating all the way back 200 years before the prequel, and I'll go over a timeline here in a minute on that. But what drove the concept? And basically, it was a quote from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I quote, "For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic." And the second part to that is, what scares a Jedi? And so what we're hearing about is this is going to be the golden age of the Jedi. The Jedi were everywhere. They were expanding. And this is going to really explore that concept. And they're saying this is going to be the fight for the Force itself. That sounds cool. But knowing what we know, we've already seen the original trilogy. Then we got the prequels. And then we got the sequel trilogy. What real stakes are here? I mean, we know how the story ends. So that's kind of... That's my, I don't want to say problem with it, but where are the stakes, right? And obviously you can get caught up in the moment, but you know what's going to end up happening. But I hope this storyline is going to be pretty cool. I'm very interested to see what they decide to do with it. All right, so let's talk about the timeline here. So you have the Old Republic, which was thousands of years ago. The High Republic is set 200 years before the prequel trilogy, okay? And I think I said earlier the sequel trilogy, the original trilogy, but it's actually 200 years before the prequel trilogy, which, you know, give or take a couple of decades there for the original one. And this is going to have a tie-in series on Disney Plus, The Acolyte. So that's pretty interesting, that it will also have that tie-in. Then of course you go into Fall of the Jedi, which is the Sith, they return in The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith. Then you have the Reign of the Empire, which is things like the Bad Batch, the Solo, that timeline of stories within Star Wars. Then you have Age of Rebellion, which is things like Star Wars Rebels, Rogue One, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. The best movies, in my opinion. And then Solo is pretty high up there. I really enjoyed that one. And then, of course, you have the New Republic, where we're seeing things like The Mandalorian. So that space, for me, is one of my favorite spaces to explore. What happens after that original trilogy, whereas what we're seeing, Rise of the First Order, is kind of what's considered after that sequel trilogy. I didn't care for it. I think they destroyed Luke. And I know I'm not the only one who thinks that, but I love that New Republic time period where we're really starting to see some stories explored with The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, and I'm hoping it all kind of takes place in that same time period. So that's kind of what the timeline, kind of where it falls into, where the High Republic falls into, and let's see what else we have going on here. So we're also going to get a few other projects that have been announced out of the shadows. That's a young adult graphic novel, or a young adult novel, The High Republic, Race to Crash Point Tower. That's going to be a middle grade novel. The Edge of Balance, it's going to be a manga type comic coming from Viz Media, which that's pretty interesting to see Star Wars adapt that media. The Monster of Temple Peak, and that's going to be a graphic novel, as well as some Starlight stories for Star Wars Insider, which is the magazine. So this is going to be very interesting, and the theme to me seems to be a lot about this young adult. There's a ton of young adult content coming in, and we'll look at the trailer that came out today, and I feel like that was also geared a lot towards young adult. And obviously it's not an all-encompassing trailer. In my opinion, there's a lot more to it than just what we see there. Let's talk about the trailer. I went back and watched it before I started the video, and I watched a few other larger YouTube channels give their thoughts and opinions on it, right? From a wide variety of people and thoughts, and just kind of was interested to see what their opinions on it were. And the constant theme was, this is going to be awful, this is going to be cringy, this is not what Star Wars fans are going to want. And if you go into it with that mindset before you even so much as read it, based on, all of a minute worth of actual content that doesn't even come from the novel, the comics, any of it, right? We're talking 3+ years of content, 3+ phases of content. It's so hard to say this whole thing's going to be cringy and trash based on a minute where I will admit it sounded like the narrator just didn't fit Star Wars, but that's fine. What I got from it is this is not going to be a series for the original trilogy, people who love that original trilogy. I think this is going to be a way, and maybe the novels will be from people like Charles Soule, but the comic books, things like that, they seem very much so geared more towards the young adult stuff. Obviously, there are a ton of young adult books coming out, but I think this is a way to try to capture that audience into the Star Wars realm. The people who love the original trilogy and love that form of Star Wars, that thought process of Star Wars. We're getting The Mandalorian, we're getting Ahsoka, we're getting those type of shows, right? Even though the sequel trilogy, once again, was not great. I don't think this is geared towards those people. I don't think somebody like myself is going to be the target market for this next phase, which is unfortunate because I think there is probably a larger market, but the concept of trying to capture that young adult, the younger readers, I think is not a bad thing, right? Anybody that can love Star Wars. Concept we talked earlier in the week about Future State was tide rises all boats, so if we can create a fandom there, Star Wars hopefully will stay around and we'll get a lot more content for all of us, right? So for me, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm probably, I might pick up the Charles Soule novel. I may check out I'm probably going to check out the comic book, right? I'll give it at least a few issues. But I'm going to go into it open-minded, and I'm not going to say, this is absolutely cringy. It's not The Mandalorian. It's not the original trilogy. Obviously, it's not. This is not a Favreau creation. This is not coming from that mindset of what Star Wars should be, obviously. And we all hear the concept that there's this internal fight within Lucas and Disney and all that has to do with Star Wars. I don't want to get into all that, but I just give it a shot, right? And if you like it, great. If you don't pick it up, don't read it. Nobody's forcing you to do that. And you can have the argument like, yeah, they're just going to ruin Star Wars. Well, there's an audience for it, I guess, right? And if there's not, then they're probably not going to continue it. So it's no sweat off your back, right? So Star Wars doesn't have to be this thing where it's only for you and me and the people who love the original trilogy, and this is for somebody. And whether that's a huge audience or a smaller audience or whatever, Lucasfilm Publishing is putting a lot of time, effort, and money into doing this. So we'll see what happens, right? It's the Disney way now. So, but I am very interested to see kind of what it's going to be like, what opinions are, because right now you see nothing but negative, and nothing's even come out yet. So, but again, to recap, 3 phases: Light of the Jedi, Quest of the Jedi, Trials of the Jedi. Phase 1 is going to go through 2022. It's going to be constant books, comics, magazines, and a manga type thing, which is pretty cool. And this is going to be kicking off with the 3 books coming out: Charles's book, Justin Ireland's book, and Kevin Scott's book. Claudia Gray's book is going to be hitting in February. And we're going to be getting 2 comic books this Wednesday, January 6th, with a second novel coming in July 21 from Kevin Scott. And obviously this takes place a couple centuries beforehand. But I'm interested to know what your thoughts are. Is this something you're even going to give a shot? Do you already hate it before you've even seen it? And, when I started watching it, man, when I started watching those other people trashing, I was like, yeah, you guys are right. Absolutely. They're ruining my Star Wars. They're not. Not yet. We haven't seen it yet. We don't know what they're going to be doing. So just give it a little bit of a benefit of a doubt. Open-mindedness never hurt anyone. And, you can't go into things always hoping something fails before you even give it a shot. So, but anyways, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Smash the subscribe button, because I think I'm going to continue talking about this quite a bit, specifically within the comic books and maybe the novels. Because it does intrigue me to see what we're going to be getting, because this is supposed to be a big deal within the Star Wars realm. So thanks so much for being the best part of Two Brothers Comics, and as always, collect your way.